Johnny. Yeah. Gus German here wants to dock the country. Oblige him.
That if anyone could become obsessed with the past with a background like that.
Hey. It's all over. The world ended.
Listen, watch out about choosing your pals, you know what I mean? Don't let them choose you.
It's the Al Travis Show. We're looking at our next guest on. He's Senator Jeff Howe. We love having him on the program. Senator, how are you doing today, my friend?
Terrific. Life is good.
Yeah, it is. We have more rain down here. And you hate to jinx the farmers, but it could stop for a little bit. Every other day there's a storm coming through here. Grass doesn't stop growing. The farmers are going to say, don't ask for something you can't fix. I got a lot of rain down here. A lot of rain.
I'm telling you what, and I can't keep up with the lawn mowing. We could just put a pause on that just for a week or two. Give us a couple of weeks. I'm good with that.
I completely agree. Hey, we're doing this thing. Find out about your congressman, your senator, your representative. What's the last photo you took on your phone?
Well, you don't want to know about the last photo I took because it was a work photo, right? It was about it was code violations. I was taking a pic and said, "Hey, you got to fix this deal," right?
No, that doesn't count. No, you're right.
The last picture I took, I sent it to you, and I was going to try to use it as a background today, but it didn't. Technology didn't work for me. But since I got back from Iraq, 20 years ago, actually 20 years ago, first one is really what did it to me. But I don't sleep well. So if you can believe it, that picture was taken when I woke up at 2 a.m. It was bright in the cabin, and because we sleep in a loft, and I looked up and I took that picture at 2 a.m. of the full moon through my window. And try to hold your hands. Try to hold the phone steady at 2 a.m. because that thing doesn't take an immediate picture in the dark.
I don't know if anybody's going to be able to see that. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to see that online. Oh, there it is.
But it looks
it's gorgeous photo. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's one bright moon there, bud. Yeah, living on the cabin's cool. I mean, for folks who don't get out, us outstaters understand this. It is so much different. I grew up in the cities, and you knew there were stars in the sky. But you go out to farm country where there isn't a light on for blocks around. It's amazing how bright things are outstate.
Yeah, absolutely. And the people don't understand there is light pollution, right? The darker it is, to me, the better it is. So
that's fair enough. Did you catch yesterday was the shortest day in the history of the world?
No.
Strangest fact. I just have it as a note here. I didn't talk about it yesterday. I was going to. Yesterday was the fastest day. There's something weird going on with where the moon happens to be right now. So that put us in a spin so that the actual day yesterday was like 6 milliseconds less than any other day in the history of the world. There, how about that?
Oh, so we had to adjust the world clock a little bit? That's
how it was a world clock thing. They said, we got to fix things. I'm going to let you guys take care of it. I'm going to go with my steady old watch. We'll be fine.
I'm sure that millisecond is really going to affect my day. I'm really up on that.
Well, and this is so wrong because God loves smart people. But, Senator, can you imagine if what your life's job is to check the speed of the world going round in circles and you find out, what do I mean? That the moon's close. Who's doing that calculating? You talk about not being able to sleep. I'd be asleep in a minute. Do the math on that.
Superfluous information that really is not going to affect my life. I mean, so now I understand. So the gravitational pull of the moon speeds me up a little bit. So am I going to feel that centrifugal force?
I wanted to read the story and really understand it, but I can't. I think it's that the moon might actually be just a scotch further away than it was, so it doesn't drag us quite as much or something. I don't know. Talk to a meteorologist. It's like you say, superfluous information. Al just spent 5 minutes on the radio talking about something no one knows, and it happened yesterday. Let me ask you this, though. You'll know about this. There's this the story today in the Trib. St. Cloud's got a new medical school. This is the first medical school in 50 years built in Minnesota. The premise of this thing, as I get it, is to get doctors who want to be in outstate Minnesota. Back to you have smart kids getting their doctor's degree. They all go to the Twin Cities because there are people there. What do you have, raising hillbilly doctors that like it out here?
Well, the other idea there, the reason the thing is, they were trying to do this like Duluth.
Yeah.
And I think the premise is in Duluth, they go there for 2 years and then they finish their last few years. They go up there and then they finish their last couple years back at the home campus in the Twin Cities. The problem with that is that's where they do the residency. That's where they get comfortable. That's where they stay.
Gotcha.
So as they were doing the St. Cloud campus, my argument was, no, you're going to do a 4-year deal because you're going to finish them here. They're going to do residency.
There you go.
Because wherever they do residency, that's where they're staying.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
That was the big argument that we were having, and I didn't want the money to go to the U because I don't trust the U. Okay, I I didn't. The money has to be locked into this campus deal, and it got down to the final. We were talking about the verbiage because they guaranteed me they were going to meet with the U. They were going to make sure that language was in there, and the first paragraph, of course, said that this wasn't binding. I'm going. No, this has got to be binding because that money's got to come to St. Cloud. I don't want it to filter through the U because that's a problem because it could get hijacked. So the idea is that if we get these students out here in rural Minnesota where they get the experience of working in rural Minnesota, they get that connection. I think that's a different type of clientele than the cities. I think they may enjoy it better. And if they get used to it and we finish them here, I think they're going to grow roots and stay. That's the idea.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I was glad to see it. I figured you know about it because you're from the St. Cloud area. You talked about the University of Minnesota. This thing, they can't help themselves. And I don't have the story pulled up here. Some guy's making $430,000 a year. He quits his positions and then gets hired as a consultant for the exact same thing for the University of Minnesota. $800 an hour, made $1.1 million at the University of Minnesota.
Yep.
It's such a scam. They have 14. Good.
Government does this all the time.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, I can do this, but we can do this and finance it a different way so it doesn't. And it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
But this guy's making 400 and something plus his benefits. I believe there's a law in Minnesota saying state employees can't make more than the governor without a special exemption. Here's a guy making more than the flipping governor, and then he comes out and starts consulting, makes 3 times as much money. And at the same time, the university's now charging more for everything. They've raised tuition, they charge everything, and they're going to come to you for more money. And here's the story today. University of Minnesota sports an $8.75 million deficit.
Yep.
Does nothing have to run well there? And they'll just come to you for $500 million?
It's unbelievable how the U, every time we try to tell them that as a legislature, you've got to do this. They say you can't tell us what we can do because we're a land grant university. But every time they run a little short of money, they come screaming at us for the money, and then we turn around and give it to them, and we can't put strings on it. You know what? You're a land grant institution. Figure it out.
See, this is where I'm at. They act like you have no power over them. Well, then don't ask for the money. Go be you. We're going to take that $500 million. We're going to put it someplace else. Hope you can survive your land grant. Start using some of the extra money you got put away in endowments. But stop coming to me when you're paying some guy $1 million to do the job you were paying the same guy a month before, a third of that. It's just crazy.
You see, and that's the difference because I don't think that law applies to them because they're not really government, right? Yeah. They are the university. They're outside the MNSCU. They're land grant. So you can't tell us what to do. So
let me throw this at you.
We're not going to tell you what to do, and we're not going to stick our money into you anymore either.
Let's do this, sir. There are 14 vice presidents at the University of Minnesota. Can you name, if you and I sat here with a couple of beverages and a cigar and spent 2 hours, I don't know if you and I could come up with 14 vice presidential things to do. Vice president of finance, vice president of personnel. Help me here, Jeff. I am running vice president.
Vice president of athletics, vice president of agriculture, vice president. I don't know. You got
to get to 14.
You give me a couple of
Nice cigars.
of beverages and a cigar, I might be able to get there.
Well, you'd have to be semi-toast to figure that out. There's no reason you need that. I can't think of another business that would have that many vice presidents that isn't in 100 different businesses. This is just the business of education.
Right.
And you get 14 fees. Okay, we got to go to break. We'll be back after this. There's a wee bit of money spent on lawyer fees for the governor, and I'd love to know what you think about that. We talk about it next with Senator Jay. He rolled his head back. We'll be talking with him right after this.
Dust from gravel roads and driveways does more than make your car dirty inside and out. It gets down into your lungs, and it's bad for your health. Now there's an environmentally friendly solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control all your summer dust problems with just one application. Protect your vehicle and your lungs. Learn more at dustlock.com.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
Can't wait to get Colonel Doge, we have to call him, Senator Jeff Howe's thought on this. So the governor, Walz, was asked to go to Washington to discuss immigration, the law, what happened with the immigration policy in Minnesota. And I don't believe he should pay for that out of pocket, the flight there, sitting there, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. He has a group of lawyers that literally work in his department in the executive branch, but they aren't good enough for him. He went out and spent $430,000 with this big muckety-muck group. I have the name somewhere, K&L Gates law firm, just to prep him for the conversation. And, oh, what do you know? That comes out of our money, Senator. Is there no limit? Can this guy just go, I got the greatest lawyers of all time, even though I'm accused of nothing, you guys spend the money? Why should I not be a little upset?
I think you should be, and I think we all should be outraged by it. And you look at, I think, and when you look at the other folks that went down there, some of them spent about half of what he spent, which I think is still outrageous, 200 and some thousand.
Yeah.
Some spent more. I think the one, I can't remember her name, but she spent over 6, I think. And then you've got Pritchard from whatever his name is, the governor of Illinois, that's trying to run for president, I guess. But he didn't disclose it because he paid for it himself.
Well, let me put it this way. So he's got a bunch of lawyers that work for him already that we pay for, right? He also has that whole attorney general's division, which is all lawyers. I mean, there's a few lawyers lying around in the state of Minnesota. To ask them, hey, what's your opinion? My point is, I get it's not nice to go sit in front of Congress. They're going to ask you hard questions. But he said this law firm have expertise in immigration law. Well, Governor...
Did they give him, cheat sheets? I mean, that's, our researchers do that for us for a heck of a lot less than that.
But my point is, he's already made the laws. They're talking about the laws we did. So you've already went down this road with whoever's on our staff who believes it's legal or whatever. So you let them brief you on what they thought. We might be wrong or right. I don't have any idea. But what is K&L going to do except spend some more money researching to find out what your people already did? And figure, it just seems, and here's where I think it's, now you tell me, this is conspiracy theory 1 from Al. This guy wants to run for president, looks like. He said even if he doesn't, he's got huge money coming in, and he's going to be the next governor if he wants it because he's going to have all the money because he's out there with all the big muckety-mucks. Is this possibly a way to help some of the big muckety-mucks recoup some of the money they might donate?
Yeah, you think it's a money laundering scheme?
I didn't use those terms. I did not use those terms. I'm just saying, let's just say he runs for president. Can K&L Gates then maybe give him a couple of $100,000 for his election campaign? And doesn't that smell fishy?
That's what we kind of thought was some of the bonding money that we thought we were doing, because in some of the grants that went out, because we kind of thought that, you're giving this money to specific outfits, and then gee whiz, by golly, the executive directors of those places are donating big cash right back to the party, and that's why we kind of eliminated that. So that it goes into a competition. You have to compete for that money through this. And I think that eliminates some of it. I still have a hard time giving any money to a lot of these nonprofits because I think if you're worth your salt, you can go out and get it from the people. And then the government can give them a tax deduction to do that instead of us deciding we're going to take the money out of your pocket, Al, and we're going to decide what unit. So I do believe that is a problem, because when these people, it's just like let's dial it back and let's think about remember the rebate checks, the checks that went out, and we hire some outfit from Montana
to send about.
Can we track that money back? So your thought process is, we'll just pay you a little bit extra, and then you can siphon that stuff right back to us.
And this is all, no one's accusing this. I'm just saying this is the stuff it looks like. It just looks wrong. You're going to give this money to some outside firm. You don't think there's a Minnesota law firm that could have helped you out?
And you don't think your own staff, who a lot of these folks helped draft these bills or research these bills to tell you whether to sign them or not?
Yeah.
Here you had to train these people up, like you said, Al. I got to teach you what you don't know already about this stuff so you can tell me what to say about this stuff.
And is there is there anything to go with? You and I should start a firm, and we'll help them out next time. Because I'd do it for half the money, and I'd go, guess what? Go there and don't lie. Whatever it is, just tell the truth. That's what you want, because you can only get in trouble if you don't tell the truth. So tell the truth and let it roll. We'll see what happens after that. Boom, 200,000.
Go by what you're. When they ask you that tough question, just go by your gut and just tell them what you think.
There you go. See,
what's wrong with that?
It would seem the easiest way, and you save $500,000, or at least the state of Minnesota. Sir, we gotta fly. I love having you in the program. I appreciate you a ton. You think the Twins are doing the 2 wins in a row off Chicago? Can they sweep Chicago? A good
Well,
team
I
like
hope
that?
so, but Buxton, I want to know if Buxton's going to be back. You know,
I
he
know.
gets hit in the hand. What's up with that? But hopefully, who's that outfielder on left field that's been banging him out here?
Bader,
lately?
Mike Bader.
Maybe
Yeah.
Bader can step to the plate here and help
Oh,
us out a little bit. I tell you what, let's get a sweep. We at least won 2 out of the last 3 series.
Yeah.
We're on a roll here. Let's keep
There we
this
go.
going, and maybe after the All-Star break, we can break into that wild card spot.
I love it. Thank you, Senator Howe. Love having you in the program, my friend. He's Senator
Absolutely.
Jeff Howe on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Bar